or 5 months.
And we like vetted each other's rings.
I mean, we have such different tastes when it comes to that kind of stuff. So, our rings look, nothing similar. Mine is like rose gold. I don't have it on. I don't wear it as much. I wear it more for special occasions now, but it's like rose gold with like a morganite stone in the middle, and it looks very antique-y. And then
mine's a tiny aluminum band made out of repurposed metal from recovered landmines. It weighs like nothing. It feels like air.
What the fuck, man? That's awesome.
It's really cool.
This ring saved lives. What does your ring do? It was my dad's. It looks like my whole show at Dallas Opera Network is always about the different connections that sort of drive us back into theater time and time again, because it's generally not the enormous paychecks or the fame that does it, but it's it's the kind of relationships that we build that makes us, want to work together and be together all the time. And I've worked with both you guys, and it's just been a pleasure to make art and to hang out. Alex and I live together, which is,
that's true.
It's one thing to live with me if you love me, but if you live with me and we're not doing, that kind of stuff, you deserve an award, lady, because I'm a weird dude.
This for the internet. You were a phenomenal roommate. We had a great time.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
I loved living with you. We had a great time.
We lived up in the woods, in a cabin in the woods. It could have been a horror story.
I won't lie. I was a little happy to have you there at the cabin. In the middle of nowhere.
We also had a scary guard dog too. That helped.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Maybe.
But one of the cool things about the connections that happen in opera often, sort of like the connection that happened with me and Megan, is that a lot of times those connections lead to romantic and sometimes lifetime partnerships and relationships. So I wanted to bring you guys on because I got to watch this whole thing come together. You guys propose to each other. It's so beautiful. So can you guys just maybe start us off with the story of how Alex and Annie came to be the real opera wives of Chicago?
Way to throw that in there. Thank you. Well, let's see. We met actually we met in 2008. So we have known each other for a long time. A very long time. And we met when we were both in Aspen as youngins. And we were kind of running with different circles at the time. So the only thing we remember, which is going to sound way more salacious than it actually was having a conversation in a hot tub at a party. And was not salacious at all. Neither of us remember what we talked about. I don't remember
what it was about. I was just that was when I became aware of the phenomenon that is Alex Lucian,
and vice versa. So unbeknownst to either of the two of us, we kept tabs on each other for 3 years.
There was like Facebook stalking by this time.
Yeah.
So you guys didn't know that the other person was definitely into you. So you were both trying to be sneaky about your love for each other and to see it. I love it.
It's funny because I don't even know what it was. I just knew there was something about her. I didn't know if I liked her yet, but she was also seeing somebody, so that already felt like off limits.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
So at the time when we met, and
that's exceptional for opera because that's not always the case.
Some of us have morally upstanding lives.
Mm-hmm.
And this is really fun. So like I said, she felt off limits, and but I was intrigued by her, and so we kept tabs on each other for a few years there, and then we met up in 2011 in Colorado once more, making all the dreams come true at Central City Opera,
where so many relationships have blossomed.
I know, right? I mean, the fact that it blossomed and then just didn't die immediately at the end of the summer, which happens a lot. Like, oh, it was so great.
Not necessarily the expected outcome for the summer program relationship.
Were you guys both in the program or like as young artists?
Yeah, we were.
Oh, yeah.
We're yapping simultaneously.
And it was this like crazy. We've really lucked out with the summers that we've ended up at apprenticeships because they've always been like the hardest summer
Completely
ever
insane.
in the history of the like year. So we were there when Central City did 5 shows,
Ooh.
5 stage shows because they did 3 one-acts and then 2 other shows. It was bonkers, and we
Yeah.
we were so busy.
I was in every single show, and she would like make me dinner, and now you still make me dinner.
It's true, that hasn't changed.
Nothing has changed.
Yeah, that's very true.
So when you guys got there, like both young artists, were you guys in the same housing, or and had you
No.
been keeping in contact before, or did this just happen? Does the flower open in Central City? The Columbine, if you
I
will.
remember the beginning of the first conversation we had there better than I do, I think.
A little bit,
'Cause
yeah.
I don't remember this at all.
Because I remember meeting you at the opening party because I had stalked like the list of apprentices to see who else was going to be there, and I was like, oh, Alex Lucian, she was cute. I'm single now. I think she likes ladies. I am a lady. That was, and then so I like stalked you at the party a little bit. I was like, hi, and I was also super shy because I was myself. And then
And I had also already been there, so like
you were like you knew your stuff.
Yeah, I just sort of felt like it was already home to me, so I wasn't at all shy that day because it just was like, I was like, I love this place, and that felt,
I mean, there is a certain romance to Central City itself, because you're in this really historic. I mean, for folks who have never been to Central City, let me tell you, it's one of the most picturesque places to live. Period. But to be able to make opera in these historic buildings and an old, an opera house that was built by Welsh miners who happened to be amateur musicians and wanted to have a place to perform. It's that sort of idea that you're always connected to this sort of mysterious history.
It's super cool. Yeah.
And the fact that it's gone on all these years in a town that doesn't really have much else outside of casinos. I mean, that's the thing that's amazing to me is that, and everyone in the town like loves it. They all come. It doesn't matter. And I feel like this is what we want opera to be, right? It's like, it doesn't matter where they come from. It doesn't matter if they understand foreign languages or not. Like, they just come because they love it. And it's so cool to have such like diverse demographics in our audience in that way.
Yeah. So you guys just kind of bumped into each other at a party, that opening party, I'm assuming.
Party. Yes.
Yeah.
And I don't remember that, but I'm glad you do.
I do remember that part.
But I don't know. I remember that's not where you made an impression on me, actually. And where you made an impression on me was in movement class. And
Because of my moves. My moves are medium. I have medium quality moves.
my mediums are average at best. My moves.
And I just remember Philippe Pierce was like my bestie there, and he and I had spent the previous summer together. And I remember him saying to me, he should get after that, basically. Like, you should ask her out or do something because like she's a really awesome human.
Yeah.
And he was right, it turns out. So
It's so nice.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if I told you that. Now you know.
Yeah.
Well, that's nice. You guys ended up together then.
It took like probably 2 weeks for us to kind of become a thing.
Yeah.
And it was pretty early on that like I feel like I got the sense that it was not going to be only a summer fling.
Mm-hmm.
So once we had established that, we kind of like tried to figure out how to date long distance for 8 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Up until now.
Until now. Yeah.
Literally.
Now we're together all the time.
Yeah, it's like now we're together all the time.
And we still like each other.
Yeah. That's one thing I noticed. At least I hope Megan still likes me. I don't know. I hope.
We'll ask her when you're not around.
I'm
What's funny about, I mean, and we'll carry on with how this developed, but like at first moment, it's kind of strange because us being in the arts, the only place we really meet people is at work, and in other industries and fields, there's a sort of a stigma about workplace romance, but it's not really stigmatized so much in our industry because that's where most people find the people that they fall in love with, whether it be other artists, other singers, or directors, or administrators, or crew, stagehands, orchestra musicians. That's kind of where we end up meeting the most people. So was there a sense of like trepidation when you first started, like, oh, are we going to dip into this pool? Or was it all engines forward, ahead, full steam?
I would say I had a little bit of trepidation. Like, I feel like most singers have had the conversation with themselves of like, that's it. No more singers, no more industry people. I'm done. I'm rich.
Oh.
I'm going to find a doctor. It's going to be great. So that like that was like definitely a thing that had gone through my youthful head. But
Yeah.
ultimately, I mean, it is true that the way opera is practiced, it really, it sort of subsumes most of your life and most of your time because it's so labor intensive. And also, I mean, I know a lot of singers who are successfully partnered with people outside the industry and a lot who are successfully partnered with people in the industry. And yeah, I mean,
him.
yeah.
I say successful so far.
Great success.
She tells me she's a barnacle, and I'm never going to be able to scrape her off, and so that's what I love. It gives me so much security. I'm like, thank you, little tiny barnacle. You stay right there on my thigh, because you only come up that high anyway.
Yeah, but there are pros to both approaches, I think, and definitely it's really lovely to be with someone who understands what I do every day on a visceral level, because you do it too.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I had any idea what, I don't know. I would venture to say that she is not who I expected to end up with.
Yeah.
Ended up being the best possible ever choice. I mean, and like, when I met you, I knew that it was going to be something important. I didn't obviously know if it was going to be forever, but I knew it was going to be a very important relationship in my life. And that's really all I knew. And so, I don't know, it just worked. And I feel like I didn't want to say goodbye. So there it is. And now we're married.
Well, I know that at the end of all these, at the end of these programs, and even as a like a, when I'm not a young artist, like when you go to summer programs, as Alex and I know, because we did it together, it does feel a little bit like summer camp. And that last day of camp, everyone's really kind of sad to leave because you've just had all these amazing experiences both on the stage and off, and then the parties that go until 3 or 4 or 5, 6, and 7 in the morning and stuff like that. And all those memories, you just sort of see them sort of drifting into the never land of your memory. And so, was there a sense as you began to get to the end of the summer, like, oh God, like is this gonna be something that continues, and how do we navigate that, and or was it you guys just knew, like, boom, we're together?
Oh, I was worried. I was definitely nervous.
I'm like trying to remember now. Honestly, I wasn't as much, because I do remember, like, this is one of the things that made such an impression on me about her, was that like a month into it, she called me and was like, and just asked, she was like, is this going to be a summer fling or is this going to be more than that? Because I just want to know where your brain is, basically. And I was like,
bold.
What?
So bold. I love it, Annie.
I was like,
kudos to you.
I mean, it was like no one had ever been that honest with me, and I was like, yes, honesty, yes, communication. I am so about this. I think this is going to be a longer term thing. Like, and I do wonder if you hadn't have made that call, if it may have been different, actually, because that's how much of an impression that made on me. Yeah, it was like, and I think after that, I was kind of like, wow, like if she's actually willing to even like remotely try to invest in this, then yeah, I mean, I think I was sad, obviously, not to see you every day, but I don't know, it just like I told you, I knew you were important, so like it just didn't feel like it was going to go away.
Well, where did you both go back home to after that?
I was going into my second year of grad school at Yale, so I went back to New Haven.
And I was going to my second year, yes, in Pittsburgh at the Young Artist Program there. So
not too far away from each other.
No. Lots of long 8-hour drives.
Yeah, she did the 8-hour drive. I did the like 9-hour megabus.
Whoa.
Through
So
state college, we know that real well. Like,
so you guys were like so invested because it takes a lot. I mean, I know that takes a lot of investment in a relationship to be like, I'm willing to sit on the terrible bus and smell other people so close to me today, which I can't imagine doing today. I'd be like, oh my god, no way. The
Yeah.
idea of getting on an airplane just gives me the hives.
yeah.
Yeah, me too. I mean, yeah, I'm so glad that this happened a decade ago and not now.
Yeah.
So,
So what are some like funny things that happened in between Central City and I guess you guys ended up moving in together at some point. But what were some of the stories that how that unfolded between you two?
well, okay, so I'm going to talk about the turtle track, which
Yes.
is so we have lesbian relationships tend to have this sort of stereotype about you U-Haul on the second date. That was not the case here, and we called our track the turtle track because we basically went as slow as humanly possible. So the first year we were together, we were in New Haven and Pittsburgh. The second year she was in Berlin, and I was in Pittsburgh.
Mm-hmm.
Then she came back, and I think so. It was the first 2 years we were together. We weren't in the same place. Then we both moved to New York, but we moved across the street from each other because we weren't sure if we were going to like still want to be in a relationship after.
You guys are so responsible. You're grown-ups already.
So risk averse. For two people who are singers for their jobs, we are like very risk averse in that way.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
It was not until like into like almost the beginning of our third year being together that we were like, okay, maybe we'll try moving in together. But even that was like, she was in a sublet in New York and I was getting ready to go on the road. So I basically was like my stuff was moving in with her. And that actually is kind of a funny story. Can you,
Is it?
Feel free to
Oh.
I was like, I had never lived with a romantic partner before, and like
me either.
Yeah, and I'd been living alone for the past 3 years. Like I had gotten very used to having like my own little studio. And then,
You've always struck me, Annie, as somebody who could entertain themselves. Like you didn't need a lot of outside stimuli in order to be happy.
I would say.
Definitely.
This pandemic must be great for you. You're like, yeah, no problem.
Yes, correct.
Video games.
As long as I have Final Fantasy 14, I'm never alone.
And Assassin's Creed, don't forget.
And Assassin's Creed Odyssey, set in ancient Greece, land of her ancestors.
My heart. Oh, my heart. It's just so full of love for you two.
Anyway.
Yeah, so I had been very on my own, and you were moving your stuff in sort of box by box. And I don't even remember this, but you said that you could see me get like more and more agitated as box after box of like other person's things came into my space. And I would call it like a metaphor, but it's not a metaphor. It's exactly literally what was going on.
It was so funny. And like she was getting more agitated. And it just reminded me so much of have you ever seen Sex and the City, the episode where
Oh, I'm a huge fan.
yeah, I'm sure you are. When Carrie and Aiden move in together and Aiden's crap is everywhere, that was kind of this moment.
Yeah.
So it basically got to the point where I was like, I think I need to leave. And I just drove around the block for like 15 minutes, like in circles around the block. And then I came back upstairs and she was like, okay, I'm sorry.
And this is why we're still together, because
Yes.
up with things like that when I do them.
It was so funny.
Look, though, but you guys are so mature. Because, god dang, these are lessons that took me, because I'm just a dumb dude, man. I keep banging into the same doorway every time, being like, boom. But you should open the door. Then you just walk right through instead of just beating your head against the same fucking thing every time. So, this recognition that you are two different people. And that, I mean, for me, I have a hard time with it because when I'm in a relationship, especially with me and Meg, it's like we're this unit. And I often just think that she's inside my head and can hear everything I'm thinking, as opposed to actually having to say the words. And, communication has been a real, thing that I've had to learn how to be better at, because again, being alone all the time, I'm constantly having conversations inside my head that nobody else can hear, and I don't realize that a lot of the time. And so and I'm also a tornado. I'm not just a hurricane. Everywhere I go, shit just flies out of flies off of my body into random places in the house. And so having the maturity to understand that this is a new sort of a new relationship and a new element to this relationship, and to understand right off the bat that she needed a little space, I'm going to give her some space. Man, that's awesome. Kudos to you guys.
Thank you. I mean, I would say that it took us both a lot of work. Yeah. Like, it didn't.
Lots of talking.
So much
and
talking.
Lots of crying in restaurants.
Yeah.
That seemed to be a thing with us.
Yes.
Whenever we had like something important to talk about, it always came up at a restaurant in public, and we'd start crying. I don't know what.
No, it's
happened
true.
as much anymore. But
There.
Well, you can't yell in a restaurant. That's nice. I mean, you can, but then it's weird for everybody.
It's true, actually. It's the like having to keep yourself together because there are strangers in the room.
But I do apologize to all of those servers who came up to the table when one of us was like,
I'll take another gin Remy.
I don't know what's how it happened.
No, it is, yeah.
But I mean, it's funny the way you just said, like, thinking of you and Meg as a unit. I feel like in a weird way, like, I do think that's something that came later for us.
I think so too.
And I don't actually think that happened really until after we got married.
In that sort of,
because I do feel like we've both, what I've loved about our relationship is that, of course, we think of ourselves as like a relationship unit, but we really feel like such individuals just choosing to be together every day.
Yeah.
And I feel like we've modeled our life that way, in a big way, honestly, probably into the pandemic, really. I mean, I feel like that's when I started to sort of feel more unit-like, which doesn't necessarily mean that we weren't a unit before. It just kind of felt like different than I think how I feel like I've seen a lot of my friends in relationships. I don't know. Does that make sense?
I think ritual is important. I'm not a religious person anymore, but I do miss the ritual of religion, because the idea. I mean, Alex, you came from a huge Greek family, and the idea of like marking an occasion with a ritual, it definitely sort of puts it like it carves it in stone into your mental and spiritual landscape in a way that it's when you leave those phases, you leave those things, you kind of miss that. And I'm much more in love and much more just bonded to Megan after 5 years of marriage. But like the essence of my love for her didn't really change. It was always there, but something about standing up there in front of your family and saying the words really seeks that in and locks it into a different place. How did you guys go from this moving in together in New York City, as New York, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And going from like that element to, okay, now we're gonna, I think that, I remember because I was there, we were talking about you guys. So right? But can you fill in the people that aren't on the inside about how you guys moved from, a couple living together to, hey babe, can you keep Buster down? He's barking a lot.
Oh my God, I loved your dog.
He's what? Buster's making a lot of racket.
Sorry, guys. Hi.
So how did you guys move? I mean, what happened between sort of that and finally deciding to pull the trigger on the lifetime commitment?
Well, so we had 7,000 more steps before then, but so we were in the sublet that I wasn't really living in. Then what did we do summer 2014? Where were we?
Santa Fe.
Right. Then where did we live there? With Jenna.
Oh, with Jenna.
That's right.
Yes.
Okay. So then it was like, okay, now we're gonna go from this sublet where I'm not actually living, and then we're gonna go live with a friend in Santa Fe and be the apprentice program there. Then the next year we moved into a place that we were subletting from friends in New York together.
Oh,
alone
that was
for a
Dan's
year.
place.
And that actually to me felt like the first time that we actually moved into a place together, more so than your other little sublet.
For sure, yeah.
Well, you guys both came to it as out, like you both came to it at the same time as opposed to moving into another. Yeah.
Then she got into the Ryan Opera Center. Then I basically was like, well, she's going to move to Chicago. So am I going to move for a person for no other reason? And that was like a major moment.
That was big, yeah.
For me. Because I was like, okay, if I do this, then I think that it probably means we're going to like stay together forever. Yeah. And I did. And it was great. And it was funny because I remember talking to my agent about it. And I was like, do you think it's okay if I leave New York? And he was like, go. Enjoy your life. Get out of here. It's like, okay, great. so then, yeah, so now we've been in the same apartment now since then, for 5 years.
Yeah, 5 years now.
In Chicago. And yeah, really, it was that summer when because I was 2015. I was in Wolf Trap.
Yeah.
And that was when we decided to get married, and it was over 4th of July weekend.
Freedom.
So then...
Were there fireworks, just fireworks?
Fireworks. That's a preview. See you in February, everybody.
She ain't
I ain't scared of anything. Any help with the Southern thing. Anyway, yeah, so I was at Wolf Trap, and you were still in Chicago, and you came to visit me.
Yeah.
I don't remember exactly what it was, but we were sitting on those steps in Georgetown and just decided that we wanted to get married. Of course, it took us 3 more years
and
to
then
get there.
3 years later,
we got engaged.
We got engaged.
So that's what I'm saying, turtle track. So after 8 years of being together, we finally got married.
Yeah. Now, for my cis friends who may be confused about how it works for a lesbian couple, like did one person pop the question pull the trigger, or was it a mutual decision where it came to? And how did that come to be?
So we do not speak for all same-sex couples, same-gender couples, but
I'll put that in this is very specific.
Everybody does it differently.
We planned it. So it was like, basically we had like talked about it, and then we just like woke up one morning. It was after the summer that we all lived together. You and I lived together, and we were visiting her parents in New Haven. And we woke up and we were like, today's the day. And like, I had bought her ring over a year earlier. I mean, I think I had it for a year and a half.
Yeah, you had it for a long time. And I bought yours sometime earlier as well.
Yeah, like 4 or 5 months.
And we like vetted each other's rings. We're not, yeah.
I like that. I hope she likes this.
No surprises there.
As somebody who didn't do that, I can tell you it's fucking nerve-wracking. I highly recommend your version better.
I cannot imagine. Like, less used.
Yeah. Guessing.
But we have such different tastes when it comes to that kind of stuff. So our rings look, nothing similar. Mine is like rose gold. I don't have it on. I don't wear it as much. I wear it more for special occasions now, but it's like rose gold with like a morganite stone in the middle, and it looks very antique-y. And then
mine's a tiny aluminum band made out of repurposed metal from recovered landmines. It weighs like nothing. It feels like air.
What the fuck, man? That's awesome.
It's really cool.
This ring saved lives. What does your ring do? It was my dad's. It looks like Tom Selleck's ring. It's like, it's very like 1980s.
I love that.
I love that.
That's awesome.
Our wedding bands are pretty.
Yeah, our bands are. Yeah.
Mine's rose gold.
Oh, look at that.
Yellow.
Yeah. Mine I got from the goldsmith in New Haven who made my parents' rings. So that was like pretty sweet.
And mine's from Brilliant Earth, so it's like mine's a little. So we have like 2 rings out of the 4 that are like ethically made. Although my engagement ring
are unethical rings.
Was made unethical.
The rest of my rings are unethical. They're made from baby bones.
It's not diamonds though. No diamonds anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we didn't do diamonds. These are diamonds, but they're old diamonds.
Oh yeah.
Which probably means they're super unethical. Like.
What is it they say? There is no ethical consumption possible under capitalism.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah. Smash the state! Anarchy! What? No. Already flagged. So, you got engaged. There wasn't a lot of time between when you guys popped the question, you got married. So, what was the ceremony like, and where did you guys go, and how did all that break down?
Well, so we wanted to try to make it as much us as we could. Um, and also we didn't want it to feel like going to a performance,
Yeah.
because we do that all the time. So we wanted it to feel a little bit more casual, but like nice enough that it still felt special.
Right.
So I feel like I keep doing all the talking. You talk. I'm sorry.
No, I like it when you talk.
I keep starting all the stories.
No, this is the way it is. The soprano always begins, and the mezzo follows the soprano. It's what I listen and I breathe when you breathe, because your part's usually harder than mine, and that's how it goes.
I love you.
I know you do.
And then you cry as she kills herself.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Oh, poor soprano. They're always killing themselves. Man.
Can you stop that?
I'm sorry.
No, that's fine.
So,
wait, what were we talking about?
where we got married.
Oh, where we got married. Oh, yeah. Wait, now I feel shy.
We decided to get married in Connecticut.
Oh, yeah, because my family's there.
Because her family is there.
And it's close enough to your family that they were very gracious and willing to make the schlep.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we found this really beautiful inn called the Bee and Thistle Inn.
Very cute.
Very cute. In Old Lyme, Connecticut, where Lyme's disease comes from. Hey!
All of Lyme disease.
So lots of off.
Right in there.
Lots of deet. Here's your deet, everybody. Wear your deet.
We're covered in bug spray.
And we handed out little like bug spray packets for everybody because we did not want anyone to take Lyme disease away from our.
All I got was this lousy disease.
And
it was right on a river too, so we just like it was just like
it was. We wanted to be somewhere outside with natural beauty. Yeah. So we did that. We spent a super long time. We wrote our own ceremony because both of our like tradition / religious / ethnic heritages are important to us. So we ended up like, speaking of conversations, we had many conversations and wrote a sort of Greek Orthodox Christian-ish / Jewish-ish ceremony that we wanted to, engage both of our respective heritages, but also create something new because, neither tradition has interfaith lesbian weddings as a major cornerstone.
Where's the chapter on interfaith lesbian weddings? Is that in 2 Corinthians? No, Timothy. I think it's in Micah. It's in Micah.
Definitely Micah.
Yeah, I mean, particularly with the Greek Orthodox portion, there were no priests that obviously could, officiate that. So what actually ended up being kind of cool was that I had a pastor from the church that I worked at in grad school who was one of the people who actually helped bring me back to my faith. He was actually the choir director of this church. It was a UCC, like United Church of Christ, super liberal.
That's a great denomination. I've worked for those people. They're
UCC's
great.
awesome.
Yeah. They're awesome. And he was my choir director there, and he was also like the first like practicing gay Christian I'd ever met.
Mm-hmm.
So I was really struggling because I came out around that time and kind of trying to find where I belonged. And he actually really helped me in that, and like ultimately in a weird way actually like led me back to Greek Orthodoxy. So I told him, I can't remember when that was, it must have been a few years after I left California, because I went to school at USC in California, that I would want him to officiate my wedding if I ever got married to a lady, and here we are. And so he was the first call I think we made actually, right after we got engaged, to be like, are you free on this day? Because I don't want you to officiate my wedding. And he very graciously agreed to basically throw out his ceremony entirely and do this one that, from the Christian side that I wrote. So that's not, because we had 2 officiants, so that was mine.
Yeah. And I asked my rabbi from childhood if he would officiate my interfaith lesbian wedding, and he said, "Yeah, totally.
Absolutely.
I won't do it on Shabbos."
Wait, you have to say his first interfaith wedding was though, because that's cool.
Oh yeah, he did Chelsea Clinton's wedding. I don't even know why, but
So cool.
Wow, cool.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, so you had a celebrity officiant.
Evidently, you know, Rabbi Jim. I just grew up going to shul with him.
So now that was how long ago was the wedding?
August 2019.
A little
2019. So you guys are still basically newlyweds.
really buds. We're in we've completed 1 year of marriage and are working on our second.
And that's 1 year of marriage, and the relationship has been how long?
10 years in May 2020.
10 years.
God,
I can't.
Awesome.
I know.
So like when I have couples on, especially couples, I mean, you know, I'll go through all the. I try to like not talk too much about the pandemic because everybody's fucking tired of it. But you know, we've because of the pandemic, we've sort of all been forced to be together again, and it's been all of our time together all the time. But I mean, this is not permanent. After this is over, we're gonna have to probably go back out, hit the road, and spend our time all apart. And this crisis has hit couples like my family and your family exceptionally hard because we're both earn all of our money from singing, and there's just very few places where that's happening right now. Meg and I were super lucky with Atlanta that they decided to bring us in. That was fantastic, but it's really tough out there. And the lifestyle that we have chosen, because I don't say career because it's not a career, man. When you're an opera singer, you're more than just. It's not people that say, "Oh, it's just a job." I'm like, well, we'll see how long it lasts because I guess because I ain't doing it for the money or the prestige because it ain't gonna work that way. But as somebody who's been together for 10 years, as a relationship that's been strong for 10 years, you know, what would you tell other like singer couples, especially like younger folks? That I mean, I know a lot of folks get married young in their 20s and stuff, and they you know they're looking at a lifetime of sort of managing two people going in opposite directions and all those things. What would you tell folks that are either in the singer relationships or are thinking of entering into that crazy paradigm? What's the secret to you know having a 10-year relationship that's endured all these different shifts and changes?
You start. Are you sure?
Yeah.
Trust and communication. I think that's trust, communication, and honesty. Those are the three things I think that are the most important for singer relationships in particular, because you know we are apart most of the time normally, and I feel like, you know, I told you like the thing that got me immediately was how honest she was within after a month of dating me, and like it's a shame how shocking that felt.
Yeah.
But also I'm so grateful for it because that's been the trend in our entire relationship, and I really do trust her implicitly because we're not afraid to talk about scary and hard things in all capacities. And I think that you have to be comfortable having really hard conversations often.
Mm-hmm.
And fully believing that the person that you're with is trustworthy and honest. That's my feeling.
Totally. Yeah, I completely agree with everything you just said. You know, also respect. Like, I feel like if you can't maintain that baseline of mutual respect, even when you're furious at each other and driving each other insane, like, you know, then everything just sort of goes to hell. Also, if as a singer you can afford it, which is not a given, therapy, like not even not like couples therapy, just like do everything you can for your own mental health, like everything you need to do, because all of that is going to help you when you're in a relationship with somebody else. Like anything you can do to make your own mental health a priority, I think is going to help in every arena of your life, but also of course in your relationships, whether they're romantic or friends or collegial or whatever.
Yeah.
I that totally strikes a chord with me because one of the things that we'll talk about sometimes, both of us will be like, you're in your pathology, or I'm in my pathology, or you're in your pathology. And it's like you're not talking to the person, you're talking to whatever tapes are playing. And, for the first time in my life, I have health insurance because Atlanta Opera gave us health insurance,
Oh,
W-2,
oh,
dental, vision, W-2 pay. Everybody gets paid the same, so it's not this hierarchy of weirdness, which I also love. So I plan on, taking full advantage of that and getting that done and doing some psychiatry. Because I always wanted to go to a psychiatrist so they could like open this thing up and be like, "Oh God, close it. Oh no, close it." But one thing that just in this short conversation we've had is communication, and it's something you've stressed over and over again. It's been a hallmark of your relationship, and it's a testament to the slow sort of pace at which you guys moved. And I mean, in relationships, it's often hard. It's overcoming the inertia, starting the conversation. And just from my, just sitting here listening, it sounds like Annie's just not afraid to just be like, bam, here we go. Let's talk about it.
Yep.
And is that been really helpful for you guys, just to have at least, one person that's just like, let's just do this. Let's go. Come on, dig in.
It's funny because for as shy as you are, I think that you are definitely more, you don't sugarcoat things ever, usually. And I think that's a really good thing because
I'm glad you think it's a good thing.
Oh no, I think
I think it's not an accident that I ended up with someone who thinks it's a good thing.
Like, ouch, oh no, oh. So much truth, huh?
Well, it's true. I mean, I'm not saying that I don't think that I'm dishonest, but I definitely think that I try to soften the blow maybe a little more than you do sometimes in our conversations, which I think it's good to have that balance too.
No, I think so too. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I've learned from you how to not just say the first combination of words that happens to come up, no matter how it may come across.
Yeah.
And I've learned how to be, more forthcoming. So it's
yeah. But you also, you're not afraid to hear it. Like,
no, that's true.
You're amazing at giving the benefit of the doubt, which is not always something that I'm good at. Like,
I guess that's fair. I mean,
yeah.
Okay. Sure.
Just say it.
I'll take it.
Take it. Just take it.
I take it. Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, I love both of you guys tremendously. Y'all
I miss you so much.
I miss you guys, and I was telling Alex the other day, it's the hardest part about this thing is that all you get to see people on is digital screens and stuff and social media, and that doesn't always show everybody in the perfect light. Okay, present company of a prime example, but but I miss spending time with you guys so much, and I'm just so thankful that you took your time out of your busy schedule. So I know you guys are working overtime right now, doing all your teaching and everything else, and it means the world to me that you took some time not only share your beautiful relationship and the story of your life, not with me but with the greater audiences, the audience of the Quick and the Dallas Opera Network. So thank you so much for being so honest, forthright, and vulnerable for us today. It's really amazing.
Thank you. That's really kind of you to say.
Thanks for having us. And
yeah, it's my pleasure.
Showing everybody that we're just normal weirdos.
We're just normal, super weird people.
Yeah, just as normal as you can be and be super, super weird. Anyway, I'm going back to my Final Fantasy.